Hello everybody, today we are getting 5 stars in Jurassic World Evolution 2 using only Struthiomimuses, part of the Ornithomimidi family, which that's a horrible name to say. They're related to the Gallimimus and were found in the late Cretaceous period, and yeah, I just wanted to see if this challenge was even possible, purely just to see if it was possible. So it started off with quite a bit of terrain generation, since this map, which was Canada, was kind of janky in some ways, where the leveling wasn't exactly great for placing buildings. Placed some ground leaves so that the Struthiomimuses wouldn't instantly starve to death, because that would be terrible, and losing Struthiomimuses actually becomes a significant issue later on, because of how many die. I probably have to replace so many later on, but that's fine. Gotta place the arrival point over here, because where it's placed there, it's able to access the buildings that are not as much for guests and more like the ranger buildings and the science center and the hatchery and things like that. So it's less for guests and more just because they have to be attached to a path. And yeah, the hatchery's getting placed. I'm placing a backup generator for now because I don't have the electrical power plant unlocked yet. I unlock it relatively quickly. I forget that I have to get a control center to be able to have scientists. It had been quite a while since I had played Jurassic World Evolution 2, so yeah, I kind of forgot all the fundamentals that you needed. I recently played through the Jurassic World Evolution 1 campaign, just because it had been a long time since I had played through that, and it was quite enjoyable. So we're placing the operations buildings right now. I don't place a paleomedical facility yet because I didn't have it unlocked, I think was the reason. But we will place a few of them later on because we need quite a few. So I recruit some scientists really quickly, cutting through quite a bit of time spent, and I look into modifying the Struthiomimus because I feel like having random colored Struthiomimuses would give a bit of a difference in everything. So quickly make up some Struthiomimuses, which I'm losing so many of, which I didn't fully realize until later on how many I was going to lose, until I gained the 100% genome, purely because if you're rolling a chance of them dying, it's going to get rolled. Doesn't matter how many times you actually roll it, eventually it will get rolled. And some more train generation, which is, again, just so that the guest buildings can actually have consistency and not just like a 90-degree slope right next to them, because that's just painful to look at. It works the exact same fundamentally. I mean, I guess you can fit more buildings if it's all flat. But for the most part, it's pretty much just for the convenience of it. Place some power places really quickly now that I have them researched, connected to path, which I actually never need to increase those 3 power plants, ever. I never run out of power. There's never so many buildings to where I need more. But I place more later on for some reason anyways. Incubated some quick Struthiomimuses there. And now I'm placing arrival points. Viewing centers, because viewing centers are important, so we can actually get a rating on dinosaurs. Because, oh boy, we will need a rating on Struthiomimuses. Notorious for being relatively simplistic creatures that don't have very good ratings, and it's generally just to start a park if you don't have much funds, because they are kind of bad and just mostly make you make very small pocket change money. It's not a good idea to make an entire park reliant on specifically Struthiomimuses. I would not advise this challenge to anybody. It took many hours of sitting there incubating Struthiomimuses. I kind of delete this backup generator because, well, I have the significantly superior version of the power facility, which is just so much better, and by every means necessary, it's better. If you're playing through a run and you can justify getting it, get the power plant. It is so worth it. You don't even have to put modules in it to make it better. Just get the basic version. It is so good.
Has a feeling all of its
and
own.
yeah, now we have, I think,
Right
14 Struthiomimuses at this point. And yeah, we're still losing money, because again, Struthiomimuses are terrible. You can see my park rating at the bottom with the quest, which currently is at 0.1. that doesn't really increase ever at any given point. Place some quick amenities because guests like to be happy and they also like to complain if they're not happy. So connect those to power relatively simply. And yeah, that's pretty much the next thing. Go back to making more Struthiomimuses because that's really all there is to do in this run. Is just hope that you can get enough Struthiomimuses produced before you run out of funds. It doesn't matter that you start off with millions, you will lose that money before you know it. There's just no way around losing money. It's so difficult with Struthiomimuses. Like, you could spend the couple million to release a T-Rex and then all of a sudden you're making bank immediately, or you could spend a couple million releasing Struthiomimuses that are worth, I think, like 40 grand each or something like that. I don't even remember. And it's just not worth it. Getting any other dinosaur is better. Getting a Gallimimus is better because, like, yes, they're so similar in so many ways, both physically and just the way their fossil structure was is fairly similar. They're in the same dinosaur family. And just every dinosaur is better than Struthiomimuses. This was a dumb challenge that I decided to impose on myself, purely for the purpose of no reason. I actually built this small hotel mere moments before the guests complained about not having a hotel, so that's pretty close foresight on my hand. And yeah, just generally kind of working slowly on making up this facility in any way possible. I level up some more ground because, again, I like visuals in this game. I like things being efficient. Like, I don't care as much for the aesthetic design of things, but just, I don't like seeing like a 90-degree slope. That just looks wrong. My appeal is absolutely terrible, although it has gone up significantly. Now it's at 0.5 as opposed to 0.1. And yeah, I think placing these amenities at each viewing center is a good idea. I don't know why it says my income rating is +0 and it is drastically increased, because it went from minus a whole bunch to only minus 15,000. Park overcrowding hasn't even come into an effect yet. It will later. Oh boy, will it later. My monorail requires 2-star rating, which almost was an issue. I completely forgot wide path was even a thing, because in Jurassic World Evolution you get it by default, if I remember correctly. And so I make this pitiful attempt at widening the path by placing multiple paths next to each other, and for whatever reason I just couldn't line it up, and it just wasn't working. Spent way too much time trying to align it, and yeah, I just ultimately deleted it because it wasn't worth my time. I searched some fossils out for some Struthiomimuses so I can increase from a 60% chance to eventually 100% chance so I can get all 7 eggs incubated each time. I placed this far viewing station, like the ones that can see far away, and the first one's different than every other one, and I never noticed that until way later. Like, I think when I was editing quite a bit into editing, I noticed. I don't know why I never noticed. It doesn't mean anything at all. They're the same size anyways. They have the same function. It was just weird that I never actually noticed them despite having such a drastic design change. And
we need to do what we can.
Yeah,
for the
I don't know what
dinosaurs.
to say about that.
Like
I just
taking
never
on
noticed it. It
objectives.
was very strange.
This one, for example.
Ensuring that guests don't get hurt by increasing the safety rating is pretty simple. You just place some guest shelters a few places, and that's really all there is to it.
Not something.
And apparently you have to
kind of
put
feels like you are
open the emergency shelters when there's a storm, because I don't know, I guess Canadians can no longer deal with the cold weather, which doesn't make any sense because they are always stereotyped as they live in igloos, which is not entirely accurate, but still funny. I place 2 paleomedical facilities once I finally line it up, because I was starting to think, like, hey, I'm gonna need to deal with a lot of Struthiomimuses. Sorry, I only placed 1 now. I place a second one later, because I'm thinking, like, I'm gonna have to deal with a lot of Struthiomimuses later. Now, this one is actually sick, which is convenient timing, and so I block it off because I remember in this game, getting the cure to diseases isn't just, oh, have enough research buildings, because you only get 1. It's no, you have to meet requirements like block it off from every other creature, take a photo of it if it's rabies, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. So I quickly sent out this mobile vet unit to go and see what's wrong with my 2 dinosaurs now, which wasn't actually that serious, it wasn't that big of an issue. Later on, I had a significant issue. It was terrible, almost lost the run, but that's for later on. Now, of course, their comfort's going to drastically decrease because they live in like a 5-meter cubed area, but I mean, that's fine. They're not living there for a long time. Quickly assign some scientists to actually research the cure. Then I just sit there sped up until the cure is researched, watch as this guy fails at shooting a dinosaur multiple times, which was really quite humorous to watch. And then, yeah, they're all cured. Problem solved. Nobody's upset at the dinosaurs. My viewing percentage is astonishing, and I quickly release a few more Struthiomimuses because I need so many Struthiomimuses. I think I ended up with more Struthiomimuses than I intended. Like, I think I wanted something around like 80 Struthiomimuses was my intention. Like, I'm thinking like, oh, surely it won't be that bad. Surely you don't need that many Struthiomimuses, because I think I forgot about the variety penalty being as bad as it is. And this one, handler injured. I feel like that's a load of BS, because there's no way they got hurt from a Gallimimus knockoff, because that's really all Struthiomimus is to anyone that's not a dinosaur nerd and knows the Gallimimus from watching the movies, like the Jurassic World movies. There's Gallimimuses in there. That's really all Struthiomimus is. It's just a Gallimimus knockoff, or a big ostrich. I don't know. Not too much significance. Now, here is kind of a monumental release. That one released Struthiomimus 42. Struthiomimus 42 becomes important later on. I'll get back to him when he's important later on. I placed some more hotels because, well, accommodation is super important in this game. You can't just place one large hotel in the middle of the park and everyone's happy, because, oh, there's problems with that and they have things to complain about. Just, there's benefits to Jurassic World Evolution 1, and there's benefits to Evolution 2. I don't have a favorite between the two. I definitely like Evolution 1's campaign a lot more than Evolution 2's, but that's just my preference. My friend likes Evolution 2's more than Evolution 1's, but, you know, each to their own. I liked Evolution 1's more because it was a lot longer of a campaign. It just felt more like a campaign. Now, with these fossils, I was able to actually reach 100% genome, which would be very substantial later on, because having 100% genome just means that you're releasing 7 eggs every single time, as opposed to the chance of releasing up to 7. And yeah, my park rating now is at 1 star. 1 whole star. Yay. I need 4 more of these, so I quickly optimize the configurations of each of these amenities, which just basically makes it so that each of them is making a profit as opposed to making me lose thousands of dollars, so that guests are happy. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I go back to incubating Struthiomimuses now with 100% genome, so I release 14 Struthiomimuses fairly simply. Now, my rating is actually 1.7 at this point, and you can see I'm starting to accumulate quite a lot of Struthiomimuses. The addition of optimizing the park amenities, as well as releasing a few more dinosaurs, I guess, just boosted up my rating by so much, because the rating in this game is based more on the actual income and less of just the rating itself, which I guess it just gets increased with income. I placed a Jurassic tour. At this point, I still didn't realize that viewing station was different. Again, I don't know what I was thinking, or if I was thinking much at all. And then I kind of had the idea of the Jurassic tour doesn't necessarily have to be used as a way for them to view dinosaurs. It can be a way of transportation, if you think about it. And so that's exactly what I did, and it drastically increased my transportation rating. If you cannot get the monorail, I would highly suggest it. It's fairly affordable, and you unlock it fairly quickly. I did destroy these 2 viewing platforms because, well, they don't like having sharp path turns, which doesn't make sense because, I don't know, I guess vehicles couldn't turn that sharp, even though it really wasn't that sharp. Incubated a few more Struthiomimuses because, well, you need Struthiomimuses in this game. And my ranger team won. I don't know how I did this. I wouldn't be able to reenact it. It's inside the building. Yeah, I don't know what was happening here. Really couldn't tell you. I guess they got a really good view of the outside. Any workers has great vitamin D in their system because, wow, they're getting only sunlight exposure the entire day. Because all the walls are see-through, apparently. The more you know on the Discovery Channel, because that's what this is, apparently. So we found out mere moments ago. Now, I have no idea what caused this. I don't see a way that would recause it in the future. It never happens again in the future that I at least notice. So, I don't know. If you recreate it, good for you. If you don't, well, I made it. You can see what happens when a vehicle gets stuck inside the building. It's very janky. I release a few more Struthiomimuses now, not having to worry about the budget as much, as I've actually started accumulating a bit of an income instead of losing money, because that's not how you win this game. You have to make at least some money. My rating's at 2.1 stars, and it actually stays around there for quite some time. It alternates between 2 stars and 3 stars for a very long time. Like a stupid amount of time. I released some more Struthiomimuses because Struthiomimus are important. These 2 get hypothermia from the cold weathers of Canada.
It's such a privilege to spend our days and our nights bringing these amazing animals back.
Well, if they're injured, that's a problem, and I get deducted rating points for that. And I don't like being deducted rating points for something I can control. Especially something as simple as keeping my dinosaurs healthy. So this is when I actually increased the amount of bays that this has, which I realized is unlike Jurassic World Evolution 1, where you have to have each modifier is additional bay. Which was very much a shock to me, and then I found out that this one just straight up guarantees success. This game is for people on easy mode. I swear, there's so many things that are easier in this game than in Jurassic World Evolution 1. Like, I've never played a challenge, as far as I can think of, where there's literal tornadoes that just straight up go over the entire map just because they feel like it. And I'm actually accumulating a lot. I'm almost at 100 Struthiomimuses at this point. As you can see, I was at 94, which is just absurd. This was the most amount I thought I would have to have. And to be clear, this is me driving the Jurassic just to see they are everywhere, driving around, and I found that you can actually toggle highlight, and oh my gosh, there are so many dinosaurs right now. Don't worry, I release more in case if you they also tackle me like crazy, which was actually crazy. So I delete that path because I was actually able to replace it with this significantly better monorail after I, yet again, try and make a sad excuse of widening paths. It was sad. Make fun of me in the comments if you feel like it. I really don't care. It worked good enough. I actually unlocked the large hotel, which meant that I was able to get a better accommodation rating per hotel as opposed to the one that I had previously, which was very, very nice. Because accommodation rating can very much so destroy your rating so much if you just are missing one hotel. So having large hotels definitely makes it easier. I placed 2 monorails. I was anticipating placing a 3rd one later on, which is why I kind of placed them in a way that works to add more, I guess, if that makes sense to anyone. Because I was anticipating adding another one, and then I just never did. Those were those were the only 2 that I ever made. That's really all there ever was. I don't know what I was thinking. I was going to add another one too, or where it was going to go, or what its purpose was. But yeah, it was an intention I had. I placed another shelter down there because something happened to the old one. I don't remember exactly what it was. I finally connected the monorails. I don't remember why I didn't connect them to begin with. But yeah, it just, I don't know, it didn't work out as well as I intended. And yeah. monorails are significantly better than Jurassic tours when you can justify having them. Keep in mind that's when you can justify having them and not when you have them unlocked, because having them unlocked and having them justifiable are very different. I actually placed down a second large hotel because, I mean, 2 large hotels is better than 1 large hotel, surely. And I get an undiagnosed ailment. This was a bit of a problem. I tried isolating the dinosaur like I did with the last one so simply. Unfortunately, I've got like 9 times the dinosaurs, so it's a little bit harder to build around them, and it's unlike Jurassic World Evolution 1 where everything builds instantly. So I decided to drive it manually to scan it myself, which, oh my gosh, was difficult with the amount there were. Avian pox. You see that avian pox? Huh. What could possibly go wrong? Now, I ran into this issue in the past, and I remember, you gotta block it off from every undiagnosed dinosaur. Which I thought would be simple enough until these 2 fences decided to not be built, and he walked straight out of a almost perfect trap. I was relieved to hear about this. I decided to get a capture team out there because I thought if I could just move it to a different enclosure, that would work. It would, in theory, if it didn't just spread to another dinosaur right immediately as I did that. So I grabbed another one thinking that, oh, surely it won't spread that fast. It's at 5+ already. It spread so quickly, I could not keep on top of it. It was terrible. It was so bad that I tried transporting them. I double checked that the way to unlock the cure is to isolate them. Look at how little there are in the area, and watch as it just gets more and more red. Look at how red that is. My plan entirely changed. It completely flipped on itself when there was literally 5 dinosaurs left that weren't sick yet. So I isolated the 1 dinosaur that actually was left because I was tranquilizing them, and then only one of them ended up being unsick yet, so I just quickly threw him in a pen on his own, unlocked the treatment, and watched as it quickly researched on 3 times speed. I then sent him out to get tranquilized and then brought over, and then I just look at it as the map goes less and less red. It is beautiful when you become that close to losing every single dinosaur because of avian pox. Such a simplistic disease, you would think. Normally it's not a problem. That being said, normally you don't have almost 200 Struthiomimuses. So when you have 200 Struthiomimuses, yeah, it becomes a bit of an issue. I quickly released 35 more to, help with that same issue. And my rating's at 2.4 stars at this moment, and I'm thinking, they really don't like their environment size. They're having problems with it. They're complaining, even though they're dinosaurs and they can't actually make words out of it. They're complaining. So I'm thinking I'll add this tiny little extra area for purely just forest, purely just for the rating. Once they finally expand it out, it'll be great for them. They'll be happier. They'll be more content. It'll be awesome. What I failed to realize at the start of this challenge was that every single Struthiomimus needs space. It's additive. You need more space the more Struthiomimuses you have. Now, normally, you don't have 200 Struthiomimuses. Normally, you don't have 200 Struthiomimuses. I did, so it was actually a significant issue and would become a problem by a very large margin later on. Quickly replaced their Jurassic tour so that it would cover more ground, because the more visibility the better, and then released even more Struthiomimuses, because that's the solution to every single problem you have at this point, is whenever you're not making enough money, just release more Struthiomimuses, and I was actually able to increase the enclosure size a little bit more, as well as provide a little bit of room over here, so that I could place the new hatchery, because I thought that placing the new hatchery would mean that I would be able to have more room over on the other side, and it would just be more convenient anyways. And then I quickly synthesized these dinosaurs that were left in there for some reason that just never got finished. And then I deleted the hatchery a little bit later on. as well as every other building that was around there, every other operations building. What could possibly have gone wrong? Aside from me forgetting that I deleted every operations building and then forgetting that I need to repurchase them later on, because you need these operation buildings in order to be able to use these operation buildings. Placed a quick fence so that they'd actually not be able to just run loose on my park, because that would be terrible. And quickly destroyed the fence, so now they have most of the entire area this map provides for space. I quickly placed down the other operations before they become a massive trouble, like they were at the start. Again, off to the side, because guests don't actually need to interact with them, because it's none of their business. And my first dinosaur actually died at this point. It was weird. I didn't really think much of it, because I thought it was just, yeah, okay, yeah, sure, they're gonna die. So what? So I quickly released more to solve that problem, because when one dies, the only solution is to release 35 more. That's how you end a decrease in population. When one dies, add 35 more. What could possibly go wrong? I add a little bit more extra water because, well, they need water, and that was really my only thought, was their water intake, their water need in the environment wasn't increasing that much. So I thought, hey, we might as well just make a whole big area and then it'll never be a problem later on, which was actually correct. That was never the problem. It was the forest and the green leaf. I released, again, 35 Struthiomimuses because another one had died. And then I got another illness, which confused me because I didn't think there was any other illnesses that would be an issue, but I kind of didn't fully realize it until a little bit later on, after releasing 35 more Struthiomimuses, and it just went away. I don't know what it was. Oh, disease cured. So it was an infected wound, was all it was. And that was it. I added this little area here because I wanted to add a gyrosphere area, but there was this Struthiomimus there as I was trying to place it, so I patiently and impatiently sat there waiting for it to move out of my way so I could place the Struthiomimus's gyrosphere so that I would get more rides, because I thought that would increase my rating, which actually was true. It definitely increased my rating by quite a significant amount. And yeah, another one had died. This was Struthiomimus 4. Now, for whatever reason, this was the oldest one. I don't know what happened to Struthiomimus 1, 2, or 3 when they died, but Struthiomimus 4 was officially out, and that was now meaning that Struthiomimus 6, because 5, it just died, 6 was now the oldest Struthiomimus in the park. Yay! My dinosaurs are dying of old age, because this challenge took way too long and was actually obscene. Placed some more amenities so that Gus wouldn't be mad, and went back over to the hatchery to, you guessed it, synthesize more Struthiomimuses, because my 286 Struthiomimuses wasn't enough. Apparently. I don't know what I was thinking. I remember getting so tired of releasing Struthiomimuses after doing it for like half an hour straight, which I think was this period here, of just releasing Struthiomimus after Struthiomimus after Struthiomimus, which is a very annoying name to say back to back, I'm realizing now. But it was just so many Struthiomimuses, and I'm still at 3-star rating. I don't know if you've noticed that. It's still 3-star rating.
Outstanding.
And this dinosaur, it phased through the fence. I don't know what happened. Could not tell you. Release some more Struthiomimuses to deal with my problems, because, well, when you have an issue, release some Struthiomimuses. It'll solve all your problems. Said me, which is not good life advice, but, you know, if you actually are able to release Struthiomimuses, by all means, remake Jurassic Park. It went wonderfully. I actually saw that the variety penalty was significantly less than the dinosaur's visible bonus for making the appeal rating, which meant that it was effectively possible. Now, does that mean that it was very likely that it was actually ever going to be reached? Not necessarily, with a logical amount of Struthiomimuses, but you know what? I have almost 400. Who said I'm going to have a logical amount? Who thinks that I'm going to have a logical amount when I have 400 Struthiomimuses? I don't even, I don't even know what I was expecting, having only 80 in the entire park being my intention. Could not tell you whatsoever, because wow, I was wrong. Could not have been more wrong. I guess I could have been more wrong. Could have guessed that it would have been 20, which I guess would just mean that I'm an idiot. But, you know, each to their own. So, this was so many Struthiomimuses that I couldn't even release the Struthiomimuses without having to wait. And they were actually backlogging up the rides in numerous places because of Struthiomimuses taking a nap on the path. And I actually spent a while looking for the youngest Struthiomimus before just backtracking to Struthiomimus 42, the at the time oldest. And for some reason I named him Grandpa, because he was the oldest by quite a lot. I would end up following Grandpa a lot later on, but for now I'm releasing more Struthiomimuses because my 500 Struthiomimuses wasn't enough, apparently, for my rating to reach 3.3 stars, because I'm still at 3.2 stars. This Struthiomimus also phased out of the area. I really don't know what happens for that to happen. I couldn't tell you. I didn't deliver it via air travel to get it over there. I really don't know. If any of you know, please tell me why they glitch out of the fence. I don't know why they would, but to solve my issues, yet again I released more Struthiomimuses, because that's really the only issue
Objectively,
that
true
can't be
professional.
fixed, is
You should.
a lack of Struthiomimuses. If you ever need more Struthiomimuses, I know a guy. It's me. I'm the guy. I've released so many Struthiomimuses. It is crazy. I'm at 550 Struthiomimuses, because my population was actually decreasing at such a rate that I had to actually justify continuously releasing these Struthiomimuses, because otherwise my population would decrease so drastically. I decided to rest up each of my scientists after overworking them a bit too much, because apparently they need rest. I checked up on Grandpa to find out he was 84. Their life expectancy was 61. What is Grandpa doing to where he is 84? Like, it doesn't make sense. Under no means necessary. Oh, sorry, 94, because now he's 97. Under no means necessary should this man be 97. That's 1.5 times his expected lifespan. All of his brothers and sisters died so long ago. Why is he 97? It doesn't make sense. 98. But don't worry, he lives on. I'll go back to him a little bit later. At this point, my path capacity was getting reached, as well as some amenities not being properly configured. But you know what? My rating was at 4.2, I think. 4.1. So, it was pretty nice. And then I decided, what would happen if I take a photo? Just a photo. I made $134,000 off of Struthiomimuses, which is not a normal amount of Struthiomimus money. Now, I actually placed down the notorious T-Rex tunnel viewing cage because I wanted better viewing, and I don't know, it works. It actually worked very well. I increased my rating by like 0.2, I think, if I remember correctly. And after waiting a while with rotating, Struthiomimuses finally got out of the way, and I was able to place it, as well as the remote viewing gallery entrance, which was fairly simple. And yeah, I had the notorious T-Rex viewing log station thing before releasing more Struthiomimuses, as my population was back to decreasing below 550. And if you've been paying attention, having less than 550 Struthiomimuses means that your appeal rating is terrible. Even though my Dinosaurs Visible rating was giving me 7,500 rating out of the normal 4,000. The variety penalty was so bad that it was giving me such a deduction. It was actually crazy. It was so bad. And then I found out, no, it's actually more guest comfort, because I was actually reaching 100 rating on dinosaurs anyways, and now just needed to keep on releasing more so that I would continue on having money when they kept on dying. And since there were no carnivores in this entire adventure that I brought myself on, it meant that I had to manually remove every single dead dinosaur. which normally I just let it sit there and rot until it goes away because somebody will eat it. But in this case, there was nobody to eat it, so that was actually getting to be annoying. And I got to a point where I just genuinely didn't care about their healthcare and just instead released more Struthiomimuses because I figured if your dinosaurs are dying, just release some more. And you can see my rating's 4,300 out of 4,000. So I now reached more than enough for the dinosaur rating. But I thought, hey, let's increase that number even more, because the higher the number, the more the money, the higher your rating. Because my rating's at 4.8, which meant that I had very, very little left to do. Like, just increase the rating ever so slightly. The dinosaurs visible didn't need much increasing. My amenity coverage could have done a bit better, but you know what? I worked with what I had. I didn't have the most amount of rooms, considering the fact that these dinosaurs had taken up the entire space and not even had enough space for them to be fully happy. So then I checked up on Grandpa again. He's 112. Seriously, who's feeding that dinosaur? What is Grandpa getting fed to where he is 112 years old with a life expectancy of 61? That's like a person living to 190. It doesn't make sense. And it got to a point where I was starting to think, like, when is this dinosaur going to die? Because I don't want him to die. But, like, realistically, when is he going to die? Because, like, he's been around forever. And he actually did. I didn't notice at this point, but he was already gone at this point. There was just lots of dead dinosaurs, and I didn't notice him. And so when transporting through all of them, I didn't realize I actually queued that one. I thought I got all of them. I thought I got all of them, and then I saw it. He died of old age, which figured, again, he was double his life expectancy. And I sat there for a long time, both admiring the position in which he died at the age of 113, because, oh my god, this dinosaur was so old. It doesn't make sense. Thank you, Grandpa. You were the entire reason why I was able to do this. I sat there for so long. I don't think you realize. I think it was like 15 minutes I sat there before selecting his transport. And watch this timing. I selected his transport in real time.
It is wrong to associate chaos with
which meant that Grandpa was so close to reaching the end before dying of old age.
As you accomplish these
missions, which was genuinely tragic, because I would have done so much to get Grandpa to live like 1-2 extra years on his lifespan. And I felt it was right to watch Grandpa leave into the sunset, into the mountains, just fading away as dinosaurs do. As all dinosaurs do. I felt it was right to just watch him fly away, knowing that I had effectively won this challenge. I'd gotten 5 stars, but at what cost? 600 Struthiomimuses, none of which were happy to be enclosed in this situation, all of them angry at one point or another. It wasn't right. It wasn't humane.